Slate.
So long as I can breathe,
Keto
my
onto
fight
Adamir,
goes on.
leaving the last slot on the side of Slate for the tank, or even possibly could be the Akai on JPL.
Looking at as much options as possible. As RNG, all they gotta have to look out for is a jungler and a roamer. I've tried to pretty much identify that an aggressive roamer is pretty much important for RSG. I don't think that Barat's actually it might be.
Yeah, it could be a Barats can work. And on top of that, I think for Barats to make it more effective, you need something to sustain our team more like a Karina tank and a Franco pick. RSG, ladies and gents, they are going fishing.
Well, looks like we pretty much got the hit it right on the money, right? Having the having Lolsey onto the Franco, being aggressive as much as possible, especially since the synergy between a Franco as well as a Lilia is pretty much very important. Once you get a single person onto the bloody hunt, you can pretty much be expecting that anyone being hooked down will be melted down by all of the glues. As such, Slate, they gotta have to respond. With the final roamer that they gotta have to look out for, is it someone that is able to resist all of that crowd control? Is it something that they gotta have to work with when it comes down to opening up brushes, soft support, hard support? Very likely.
I'm bound by nothing.
Oh, yeah, it's Akai tank. Yeah, it's Akai tank.
Akai tank.
Yeah, called it.
Okay.
Yeah, the Akai tank and the Gusion on gear. After the rework. Yeah, you can hear the crowd going wild here for Slate. And all the way on the other side, also for RSG fans here, going crazy. Guys, the draft is ready. 1-1 RSG, SG, and up against Slate right now. Looking at the draft, it's very 50-50 for me.
There's quite a lot of things that we gotta have to talk about here. There's quite a lot. But we will break it all down for you guys and see what are the small little weaknesses that lies within the crevice of the from the lineup of RSG as well as Slate. As we slowly gear ourselves up, no pun intended, into Sanctum Island. Jace, take it away. Who do you think have got a better draft?
I think both drafts did equally well. Like what they need to do, it's all up to the execution.
The enemy
I think RSG very strong on the pickoff, but on the side of Slate, strong in the wombo combo team fights. But ladies and gentlemen, on to game number 3. It is black versus blue.
Now, of course, the thing that I am relatively curious about is the fact that they have decided to go for a Gusion pick over an Amon pick. Especially since looking at the fact that RSG, they do have a Melissa. So when it comes down to Muddle's protection, it will be a lot easier for the Amon to actually snipe that Melissa away, especially since Slate doesn't really have a proper person to go to the backlines. The only one backline that we are talking about could be Adamir because of his mobility skills, and not to forget FMM, who can just deliver into a death ball scenario, or rather, death ball scenario via the Blazing Duet. So there are, of course, pros and cons of the on the Gusion, but I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm definitely not a big fan. I feel like the Amon is a better pick right here because you do have the range, you do have the sustainability, but that could be, what Gear is very comfortable with. Right now, in my opinion, what Slate is doing right here, they need to play around the mid lane because the side lanes, if you take a look at how Diablo is cutting the waves, and while the top lane as well, it's FMM that's not really doing well.
Well, in terms of the, emblems-wise, the jungler coming from the side of Slate, things a little bit different. Gear putting up a pretty darn good show. Immediately being able to find Lolsey and burst him right down, especially since he's level 4.
Yeah, don't forget, Franco is more of a utility tank, not a very strong hard tank. So that's something that the Gusion should be able to burst down in the early parts of the game. But now, Bray, on that Karina, knowing that Gear doesn't really have the ultimate anymore, Bray could actually go in. But oh no, there is Lyuzi going on fishing. Sailor will be the one that hooks all the way back in. JPL doesn't really have the ultimate for now, but it's going to be Vandermorning for the side of RSG. Slate takes down 2 members.
Definitely a great pick from the side of Slate. They have managed to take themselves 3 kills to their name. And to make matters worse, Slate is attempting down onto the turtle, and turtle soup is pretty much imminent for Slate. RSG will then have an answer to deal with them. As such, Slate has effectively put themselves ahead of the curve from RSG.
Slate, great start for now. It's 1K in the lead. Not only just those 3 kills, they also secured the turtle. This is unheard of because for the past 2 games, first turtle is usually going in the favor of RSG.
definitely a bit different from Slate. Gear definitely hurt me. He's just trying to say, hey, you know what? Gusion is as good as anyone think it is, and perhaps you gave Amon a bit too much credit. This time, I will shine the light on Gusion, and I am very much looking forward to it here.
Yeah, that low-Z hook doesn't really just miss the mark. You can see the crowd just literally went, whoa. But Slate right now, they're looking around. So they need to use that early snowball to pick up because based on their drop, they need to make sure the Adamir and make sure the gear snowballs, but at the same time, oh my goodness, across the lane, Diablo gets assassinated.
This is a great thing, right? When it comes down to the mobility as well as the great burst potential from the side of Slate, the Gusion is doing very well. As long as they are able to translate all these kills into objectives and ensuring that RSG from all across the map is unable to farm, that will be the best thing possible in order to, whittle down their farm. If you bring down the EXP laner who will always be constantly farming and you push away the gold laner, then you pretty much wouldn't have any active unit farming all across the map in order to tally out the scoreline or rather tally out the gold.
RSG, they're going fishing, literally hunting right now. They did not see anyone in mid lane, so they're going to walk past the mid lane. They're going looking at the bottom lane. Diablo facing a lot of pressure because of Gear and Adamir for now. low-Z spending most of his time on the bottom side, but the turtle is spawning at the top.
Is going to be looking for a stray purple buff, but Brave, unfortunately, it is not going to be that easy as Adamir joined in, but in the end, he still managed to take it away from the hands of Gear. So great start for RSG as well. They're starting to look for some momentum of their own. But speaking of momentum, JPL decided to join right in with the heavy spin. No longer have the heavy spin to secure this turtle. As such, RSG takes their action.
They need to take this action right now. low-Z looking for some form of hook. The members of Slate, they're trying to juke it around. It's all up to low-Z to try to land on this iron hook. But JPL, he's looking a little bit low. Baby Case is already here. The damage is right now. Put the RSG stole the turtle away. And they'll also take away JPL.
A 1-for-1 in terms of turtle takes, and RSG have managed to tally things out by a tad little bit. 13,000 gold in terms of economy for both sides, and both teams, they are neck and neck, head to head. So it's really tough for us to even say that who exactly will be putting themselves on the lead. But for now, all of the resources are very northern heavy. We are expecting to see RSG to play a very aggressive role in the gold lane, and that is exactly what they're trying to do. With Franco constantly sticking up to the top lane, making sure that whoever comes close is going to be beaten down by this Franco, and Slate does not want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, RSG, Bray earlier just now taking away the purple buff because all of a sudden Gear doesn't really have the mana to take the turtle, and then after that, because they lost the turtle, they lost Cryo. Now Slate already losing the first turret, and RSG managed to equalize on a composition that is really snowballing. Slate needs to try to figure something out.
We do not necessarily care too much about the bottom lane, but one thing for sure is that a swap is going to be coming real soon, because Melissa has already brought down the top lane turret, so moving down to the bottom lane turret is going to be happening. RSG start up a fight. Slate.
It is going to be Adamir that's getting suppressed. JPL catches Brave. They will be trading their jungler for the fighter for now, but it is kind of neck and neck in terms of the gold, but it is still in the favor of RSG.
Not too bad of a problem.
Not too far away.
Even though they have lost the jungler, and in this case, you should be expecting that the jungler is the position 2, while Adamir is the position 4/3. So in terms of position as well as gold acquisition, Slate has got the upper hand. But if you take a look at things, there is not a lot of objective that is going on across the map. So Adamir losing his life is pretty much going to be putting him down on farm and putting Esmeralda on top, making things a little bit easier for Esmeralda to continue to suppress onto Torpedo, which eventually will make up a bigger margin later game.
Yeah, at least this time around, Gear does have the purple buff, which is required. Right now, at least Gear could start to spam abilities, but low-Z, he will reveal himself for now. Walks into Gear just to try to show, but Gear, he will be able to just juke it around. low-Z flickers back, but will miss the hook for now. The turtle will be reset by RSG sometime. Gray is already spinning his blades, trying to look for entry points, but Slate turtling it up.
We were pretty much expecting to see that Melissa will swap his lanes over to the bottom lane, but he really wants to be active. It kind of seems as though RSG has changed their playstyle a little bit. They would want to have their marksmen to be in part of the action and try to have a 5 versus 5 fight in order to get more value ahead of Slate. They are starting to play a lot more cautious, and they are not trying to thin out their forces as much as possible. As such, you can pretty much see Slate is going to have a problem here because JPL doesn't have a lot of help to work with.
It is going to be Gear that gets dragged right underneath. of RSG. And
The
Slate
JPL
right now,
found.
not only just that, JPL has been found by Bray, charging it all the way up. 3 members around, and RSG will try to respond. Iron Hook will not be able to connect on JPL. FMM comes in with blazing duet. But he takes a bit of the damage, but it's not enough because BMI will be able to jump all the way back. Baby Cakes will push on the pressure at the top side.
No problems. With one of the turrets taken down to the top, and I'm pretty sure that bottom lane is still gonna be pretty darn sturdy, especially since the wet noodle fight is pretty much happening. Adamir couldn't possibly do anything against this Esmeralda. Esmeralda should pretty much have gotten, I believe, the Dominance Eyes. I don't believe that the Oracle is gonna be built up just yet. But one thing's for sure also, the middle lane first tier turret is gonna be destroyed, allowing RSG to actually swarm themselves into enemy jungles, initiating with the ultimate.
And not only just swarming, they're also taking one by one. JBL would have been first to fall. The Berserker Fury built by Baby Cake is already starting to hurt. The Melissa growing strong.
RSGSG is starting to group themselves up even more. Paquito is definitely down in farm by a bit. The only thing that I saw was probably a Bloodlust Axe, but I believe that he should want to go for the next item, which understandably could be the Brute Force Breastplate, or perhaps even the Dominance Eyes, especially since he's dealing with an Esmeralda. You cannot want to miss out the Dominance Eyes. And finally, Baby Kicks has found himself in the bottom lane in order to push his advantage even more. With all of the first tier turrets destroyed in the up, middle, and bottom lane, this pretty much means that RSG will have more of that river control, and that is exactly what you want whenever your team is drafting out the Franco, so that you will always have every single one of the brushes taken, and then you will be able to push more of your advantage with the hooks on whoever is trying to hide within of their own jungle bushes.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, just take a look at the gold lead. Remember what we said, 2K is that golden number. Slate is already losing it. Looking at 3K gold lead in the favor of RSG. They have full control of the map. They've also cleared off the first tier turrets of all Slates. Right now, with the Lord being spawned right now, Slate being starved out, they need to play it slow.
Well, see, might have a hook in store for himself. It all comes down to time. 505 still has the black shoes. All of the pokes coming from Adamir is not going to matter too much. RSG do have an advantage of 3,000 gold, so they will be ahead. But Slate, they are looking for something. Adamir and JPL, they will put themselves in opposite ends of the map with Adamir trying to go for the backlines. But
JPL, his face is trying to push Lozy, but the members of RSG will be able to secure the Lord! And RSG will take away their prize. And not only just that, they will lose Lozy for now, but Baby Cakes, he's trying to chase FMN and take a bit too much damage. Here coming in with backline, threatening on 5-5.
It is still a possible fight coming from RSG as Slate. They were still hanging around the corner.
Hanging around the corner. Bray is looking a little bit low for now. Gear jump on top of Diablo as well. Adamir will be fine 5-5, but Diablo is trying to hold down the fort. RSG is stemming that bleed.
The Lord marches down at the bottom lane as RSGSG has managed to recruit him. Middle lane and top lane is relatively pushed out in favor for Slate. As such, it will take a couple of time before the Lord will be able to sync up the waves with the top and the middle. RSG, they wouldn't have much resources to help this Lord, so they will only be able to use the Mega Creeps that is going to be swarming in from the top side in order to bring the turret down, as Adamir is nowhere to be seen to be defending it.
Yeah, this will grow RSG's goal lead exponentially. Turret takedown, so much standing goal in the favor of RSG. Slate need to try to look elsewhere. FMM on that claw is definitely not enough farm. He needs more time. The snowball effect that Slate was hoping for is suddenly lost.
As both of these teams put themselves on the stage, they don't want to get low on each other. Here as a Gusion, it's pretty darn low, but RSG wouldn't want to overextend themselves either.
Now it's all about Slate, turning up. How is their third game going to be played? They don't really have a lot of high ground to work with. They're mostly trying to snowball, but the snowball plan kind of failed. RSG is already encroaching on Slate's side with the base.
With a very heavy momentum up in the northern side of the jungle. RSGSG eventually split themselves and of course forced themselves backwards. A cautious gameplay is going to be the name of the game, and of course, let's not forget about the fact that RSGSG would want to go for pickoffs, giving a little bit of a room for Slate to breathe inside of the brushes ought to serve as a false sense of security. They would want to have people hiding inside of the brushes in order for Franco to bite in hook, line, and sinker. But if whether that is really going to be happening, if whether he will be able to pull that off, it's going to be tough. And they can't accept to risk it.
That purple box do get secured by Gear for now. That is just a
Lozy
consolation
found.
prize, but JPL
Flicker.
will found Lozy, will burn the flicker into safety. They touch and they go. They're not going to commit for now.
It is going to be, of course, an easy flicker. As long as you just keep spamming the flickers, you should be able to get yourself out of the grip of the Akai. So all in all, it is 12 minutes and 40 seconds in. Both games in game 1 and 2, games have ended in 13 minutes and 30 seconds plus. So we could very possibly be able to see that this impending Lord could be the GG push if RSGSG is able to take this Lord down. And Slate, they very well know that. They would want to contest this as much as possible, but the biggest question is FMM ready?
I don't think FMM is ready. It's only level 13. Yes, he doesn't really have much kills, but he can look at the gold gap is actually starting to widen. RSG.
Never mind.
That's
JPL.
one way to cancel the hook.
That's one way.
Yeah, JPL will spin for now, but that's one big ultimate being used. 505 trying to output some damage. Nila coming in for the
They can't
backline.
take this
JPL,
fight.
he doesn't really have the heavy speed, so he will be the
Can't
first
take
to.
that.
He was actually trying to hold out, but at the same time, Brain
Baby
will
Cake.
actually fall. Now, Baby Cake will be finding gear at the backline, and now Slate. Oh my goodness, how they crumble as RSG just trying to look for more. Looking at Sayla right here, while Lozy focusing on that Lord for now. Diablo chasing down Sayla to the ends of the earth, and Slate will lose out this Lord.
A good little flicker from the side of Silla ought to bring in more of that space between him and Esmeralda, granting him a safe getaway as there are no other possibilities from Esmeralda to catch up anymore. But all of that is all encompasses over to the fact that RSGSG laid down a fantabulous hook down on fantabulous hook onto JPL that forced JPL to actually go for the heavy spin. And because of the fact that heavy spin is such a monumental ultimate that could sway the tides of the battle, having that out of the way is going to be a sign of relief for RSG, and they can be more aggressive and they can't be punished by anything else anymore.
Yeah, I like the fact that once JPL burned the heavy spin, RSG is like, no, we're going to go all the way, and this time out the Lord is going to charge all the way, and it's going to hurt. You notice the all 5 members focusing on the Lord right now. Pretty much good defense, but what about the second wave? Because these are super minions marching in.
It's all about the second waves that will come in. We are expecting to see all of the waves slowly get synced in, but unfortunately, top and bottom lane pushed in together, while the middle lanes... Okay, never mind. The next wave is coming in as well.
No.
Middle lane pushed in. That is the turret destroyed. Top lane and bottom lane is now swarming in. Slate will now have to thin their forces as much as possible, but unfortunately the bottom lane inhibitor turret will be taken down while Gear gets himself a bit busy dealing with the top lane.
Yep.
Luckily for them, the top lane turret still stands alive.
Yeah, but you gotta admit that Slate lost control a little bit in the mid and the bottom lane. RSG right here on the roll right now. Baby Cake's that zoning from the models is making it so hard for Slate, especially when they do not have that high ground. And now looking at a wave that is marching all the way in the top side. JPL looking for play out, but concealed play going. Oh, Gear would not be able to connect. But Anime
it's okay.
will punch Diablo, but that's okay. But the models, but JPL would try to push RSG out, but the heavy spin will be committed. Slate right here need to try to find a way to reach that base, to defend that turret, but they would not be able to find anything.
Lossy tries to continue with a hook, and the rest of RSGSG immediately move back after they have secured the objective. They found the answer that they're trying to go for, and of course the mission has accomplished.
Yes.
All of the inhibitor turrets down, they have created a barren wasteland on the side of Slate and introduced sand and everything else, making it a Sahara Desert. The only thing that is left is going to be the core that Slate will have to actively defend. Would it be a backdoor push from RSG? Or a impactful push by the Lord?
Yeah, but RSG, there's so much wave here involved from the side of 505, right? But now Slate, I don't really know what they can do. It's like what you mentioned, Barren Wasteland Abstract, and then you have the Lord that's going to be respawning in another 25 seconds. What RSGSG is doing right here, if you notice, is they're baiting for the purple buff because Slate desperately needs, Gear desperately needs it so that he continuously spam. But I think what happens right now is RSG, Slate, they're not finding baby cakes. They're not finding any pickoffs from now. They cannot afford to snowball.
Slate comes in. JPL immediately went for a dash as well as a heavy spin, but
Wow.
none of that
Wow.
have connected
Wow.
onto
Wow.
Diablo,
Diablo.
as he pops off with a sprint and easily outmaneuvered the entirety of Slate. This brings the attention down over to the Lord.
Exactly. That's like 5 obsessive fans looking for Diablo, and Diablo doesn't want anything about it. He's able to get on the way, buys a lot of time for RSG, and RSG takes the Lord while Slate is too busy.
The Lord, of course, will be pushing in the next 20 seconds around there, so it will still take some time. Slate will have no other choice but to be holding on to their horses inside of their base. They still have time to try to take their own jungle. They still can have some time to eventually work their way through.
Yeah.
But now, all of the members, except for one, have put themselves pretty nicely settled in the lower quadrants of the jungle.
Yeah, this is the calm before the storm, Abstract.
It is.
The Lords slowly encroaching in the mid. RSG, they're gearing it up.
All lanes are sufficiently pushed, and they
They
are
have the
moving
brace.
in tandem. Lord is leading the pack of RSG. The question is, if RSG is going for a fight,
Yeah, we're definitely going to go to fight. JBL will be the first one to fall, but RSG, the damage, the gold lead is way too much for Slate to hold as RSG will pick game number 3.
just a shy bit more until...